A paleontologist, a sheriff, and a fish and game officer are sent to deal with the mysterious monster that's terrorizing a lake in Maine and brutally killing people. Welcome back to Recap Spot. Today we'll be recapping the 1999 creature feature, Lake Placid. The film starts off in rural Maine, where we see Walt Lawson, a local fish and game officer, as he goes scuba diving in an enormous lake. With him is Sheriff Hank Keogh, who eats snacks and waits for Lawson in their boat. While exploring below the surface, Lawson is attacked by an unseen beast, and Hank watches in horror as his colleague's body is pulled through the water. Lawson is pulled under the water again, before appearing at the side of the boat. Hank pulls him up, but is shocked to discover that Lawson's entire lower half has been bitten clean off.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The film then cuts to New York City, and we see paleontologist Kelly Scott hard at work analyzing a fossil. She talks with her friend Myra, and discovers that her boyfriend has dumped her for Myra. Kelly is later sent out by her boss to Black Lake, Maine, where a tooth from the attack earlier has shown many similarities to dinosaur fossils. Kelly doesn't like the wilderness and doesn't want to go, but her boss gives her no choice.
I'm not going to Maine.
Kelly is flown out to Maine and examines the tooth from the attack at the morgue. She's able to identify that the tooth is reptilian and asks to get a closer look at the body. She's shocked by Lawson's wounds and asks to see the lake where the attack took place. Hank and Kelly prepare some supplies for their trip onto the lake, and Kelly is introduced to Fish and Game Officer Jack Wells. He tells her that she can't go on the trip, and she accuses him of being condescending towards her.
She's good.
A beautiful young woman comes by to ask about the attack on the lake, and Kelly is disgusted by how the two men change their behavior when talking to a beautiful woman. Kelly convinces them to let her go on the trip, and the three set out to a small house on the lake's shore. The house belongs to Mrs. Bickerman, and the three question her if she knows anything about the deaths on the lake. They ask about her late husband, and Mrs. Bickerman says that she killed him as a mercy killing at his request, and buried him on their property.
You killed him?
Since Mrs. Bickerman has no knowledge of the attacks, or what might be causing them, the group continues sailing until they get to their campsite. Kelly learns that they'll be sleeping in tents and is less than pleased. While sailing, Hank sees something in the water and gets Jack to stop the boat. He grabs the mysterious object out of the water, and it turns out to be a moose's head. He drops it onto the boat, causing Kelly to freak out and slap him. At the campsite, Kelly gets her stuff settled and talks to a female deputy named Sharon. Kelly tries to ask if it's hard being surrounded by all of the men, but Jack overhears her and is obviously a little offended that she thinks so little of them.
Nope, this is all yours.
Jack questions why Kelly is out in the woods with them when she clearly hates the outdoors so much, but Kelly gets distracted from answering when a helicopter comes in and gets ready to land. Kelly recognizes that the helicopter belongs to Hector Sire, an eccentric, rich mythology professor. Jack asks how she knows him, and she mentions that he's done some work with her museum, and is also known for traveling around the world to swim with crocodiles. Hank is confused why Hector would be there, because there's no way a crocodile could be living in Maine. Hector approaches the group and starts giving out orders, irritating Hank. Hector tells them that he's there to find a crocodile, and mentions that they've been migrating north.
A crocodile?
Yeah.
So it's not impossible for the creature to be a crocodile. Kelly, Hector, Hank, and Jack all end up going out onto the lake in canoes to scout out any signs of the creature. Hector and Hank continue to bicker, but are interrupted when they see a bunch of perch all panicking about something. Suddenly, the canoe carrying Kelly and Hank is flipped over by something, and the two are launched into the water. They all make it to shore safely, and Kelly calls the U.S. Wildlife Service about how massive the creature must be, but they don't believe her. Sharon tells the group that they found a severed human toe, and Hector says the toe has obviously been swallowed and is likely evidence of the crocodile.
You got a crocodile.
That night, Hector gets a party going in his tent, and Hank finds two of his officers digging a trap for the creature, because Hector paid them. Hector is in the process of seducing Sharon when Hank comes in to break up the party. Hank asks about the holes, and Hector says that crocodiles like to come on land and are attracted to noise, so the parties and the holes serve as a trap to try and catch the creature. Meanwhile, Kelly talks to Jack near the fire about how she used to spend her summers on a lake with her grandparents. Jack suggests that Kelly should stay on land for the time being, until they catch the crocodile.
I'm here, I'm staying.
He then asks why she's still helping them since it's outside of her expertise, and Kelly talks about how her boyfriend dumped her and is now dating her best friend, so she doesn't want to go back home. Hank goes out to pee during the night and finds Hector making a spring trap. Hank tells Hector to stop making traps, and the two begin to fight, prompting everyone to wake up and see what the commotion is. Eventually, Hank turns to head to bed, only to fall into one of Hector's other traps.
And he's a good trapper.
The next day, the crew head out in a boat so that Jack and Hector can go scuba diving in the lake. While Jack and Hector are under the water, something tugs violently on the boat and knocks Kelly into the water. The boat starts getting dragged away by the creature, leaving Kelly stranded in the water. She sees some perch panicking nearby, so she also begins to panic and fear that the creature might be nearby. She is eventually able to get back onto the boat with Hank and one of his deputies, and Hector and Jack soon join them.
You see it? I saw something.
Suddenly, the creature comes out of the water and bites the head off of the deputy. Back at the camp, Hector tries to give Hank his condolences, but Hank is resistant. He tries to walk off. However, he ends up getting caught in another one of Hector's traps. Fed up with Hector, Hank begins to chase after him as soon as he's cut down. He chases Hector down towards the shore, but is interrupted when a bear starts charging towards him. Hector dodges out of the way, just as the crocodile leaps out of the water and eats the bear.
I admit it. It's a crocodile.
After some research later that night, they're able to determine that the crocodile must have swum to Maine from Asia. Hector gets into a fight with Hank when he says that he wants to kill the crocodile. Hector challenges Hank to fight him and gets punched out. Afterwards, Kelly is bandaging a few of Jack's scrapes when he asks her if she's having a good time out here. Kelly gets flustered and says that he shouldn't ask that because people have died, but eventually she admits that she is having a good time. Hank and Hector review footage of the crocodile attacking the bear, and Hank asks what it's doing in Maine. For the first time, Hector admits he doesn't know.
So you're the big expert.
The next day, Hank, Kelly, and Hector scout on foot with some deputies, while Hector and Sharon use a helicopter to explore the cove where the crocodile lives. Hector begins to land the helicopter, and Sharon panics because she doesn't want the helicopter to get attacked. The group on the ground ends up finding the severed head of the deputy from the boat. Using his binoculars, Jack spots the crocodile nearby
10 feet into the water.
and sees that it's being fed an entire cow by Mrs. Bickerman. The group interrogates her and learns that she's been feeding it for 6 years after it followed her husband home one day. She also admits that the crocodile was the one who killed her husband, although she claims it was just an accident. Back with Hector and Sharon, Hector has put on his wetsuit and is preparing to go into the water, while Sharon begs him not to. Hector swims out and soon finds himself face to face with a giant crocodile. Realizing he's made a mistake, Hector slowly starts making his way back towards the helicopter, while ordering Kelly to start the engine. He uses a lift bag to distract the crocodile, giving him time to hop into the helicopter. They try to take off, but the crocodile grabs onto the helicopter and tries to pull them down. They shoot at the crocodile and get it to let go of the helicopter, allowing them to fly off. When they get back to camp, Jack rips into Hector for risking his and Sharon's lives.
You hurt his feelings.
The group argues about what to do next, and Hector suggests they should lure it on land and tranquilize it. Jack wants to just kill the croc instead, but Kelly is able to give Hector's plan a try. Jack agrees on the condition that he can kill it if the tranquilizers don't work. Jack and Hank then head to Mrs. Bickerman's house in order to take one of her cows as bait. The cow is attached to Hector's helicopter via harness, and he drags it across the surface of the water. The group tries all day to make the plan work, but by nightfall, the croc still hasn't shown up. They all get ready to throw in the towel when Hector suddenly gets a reading on his radar. Using the cow, Hector lures the croc as close to the shore as he can. The deputies all get ready, and when the crocodile comes up for the cow, Jack shoots it with a tranquilizer dart.
Worried about the cow now.
The cow ends up disconnecting from the helicopter, causing Hector to lose control and crash into the lake. Hector is unharmed, but is now stranded on the broken helicopter while the crocodile is somewhere underwater. The crocodile suddenly launches itself at Hank near the shore, and he jumps back right in the nick of time. Everyone begins driving away from the crocodile as it comes after him, but the truck hits a bump and Kelly is knocked onto the ground. The crocodile then hits her with its tail and sends her flying out into the water. With nowhere else to run, Kelly swims to the helicopter for safety. Hector instructs Kelly to dive under the water, and she nearly gets eaten when her foot gets caught on some debris beneath the surface. Luckily, Kelly makes it to the helicopter and has a brief moment of rest with Hector.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Before the crocodile slams its head into the helicopter and forces them to swim back to shore. The crocodile gets itself stuck in the helicopter and slowly succumbs to the tranquilizers. Hank and Jack want to kill the crocodile and get ready to fire at it, but Hector steps in to stop them. Jack relents and shoots it with another tranquilizer just to be safe. Suddenly, another crocodile comes out of the water and attacks Hector. He manages to get away, and Hank takes the opportunity to shoot and kill the second crocodile. Afterwards, Hank drives in the ambulance with Hector as he heads to get his wounds looked at, leaving Kelly and Jack alone. She gets into his truck with him, and the two flirt as they drive off. We then see Mrs. Bickerman's house the next day as she feeds a number of baby crocodiles.
Click one of the videos on screen right now.